Okay, it's our Christmas special today, and we're going to talk about the changing faces of Santa Claus. So I guess Santa Claus has changed a lot over the years. He was different a couple of centuries ago.
Yeah.
Very different from the Santa Claus that we know and love nowadays. So that's the changing faces of Santa Claus. And we also have a Christmas carol that begins our lesson here. It says he's making a list. He's checking it twice. He's going to find out who's been naughty and who's nice.
Santa Claus is coming to town. You guys know that song, right? We call Christmas songs carols. So that's where we get that word carol from, C-A-R-O-L. Well, he is making a list, and you know what? If you're a good kid and you've done what you're supposed to do during the year, your name goes on the list. But if you're naughty, which means you don't always behave the way you should, maybe your parents have to get after you to do your homework too much, you could be kind of naughty, and so your name might not be on the list. Or maybe Santa writes your name on the list and crosses it out and says naughty, and you don't get a gift.
That's right. You might get a bag of coal instead, which might be useful. It might help keep your house warm during the winter, but I think kids would rather have a nice toy, like a doll or a little car or something like that. So again, this is a Christmas carol or a Christmas song. And again, you did mention the word naughty. That just means a child who does not behave. They do not do as they're told by their parents. So if you want those presents, you better be nice to your parents. Listen to your parents.
We should probably mention, Tom, that the word naughty, which is an adjective, is really only used with children, not with adults. So don't call your best friend naughty when they don't behave. They're just bad. So we use that kind of cute word with kids because sometimes they don't know any better and they just, don't do exactly as they should.
Well, of course, Christmas will be soon here. It will soon be Christmas, and children around the world are getting excited when they think about Santa Claus coming to give them presents. So they're feeling excited about this. They can't wait to see what they're going to get for Christmas.
Yeah, so who is this guy anyway, and where did he come from? Tom mentioned that the look of Santa Claus, how he looks, his appearance has changed throughout the years. A couple of hundred years ago, he really looked a little bit differently than he does today. You should go back and look at some of the old drawings of Santa Claus back in the 1800s. He looked a little different. Well, we're going to talk about where this idea of Santa Claus comes from and when did it start even.
Well, let's take a look at the next paragraph here. It says, many people believe the legend of Santa Claus began with Saint Nicholas, who was a 4th century bishop who gave gifts to the poor. So we're going way back to the 4th century. It's the 21st century now. So that was a very long time ago. And according to legend, this guy was a bishop. A bishop is a person who ranks really high in the church. In this case, it was probably the Catholic Church. And again, he was a good fella. He gave gifts to poor people because they couldn't buy them themselves.
Yeah, and his name happened to be Saint Nicholas. So it kind of makes sense. So this is where a lot of people think the idea of Santa Claus first started. A legend is an old story that people have passed down through the generations. And the story changes a little bit sometimes, and we honestly don't know if some of these legends are even true, but this particular bishop did exist in real life. And he was a good man. He would give gifts to the poor, people who couldn't afford to have nice things. He would make sure they had some nice things. Well, in one famous story, he actually gave 3 sisters bags of money. You know, a long time ago, ladies, you couldn't get married unless you had some wealth, some personal wealth. So if your father wasn't wealthy, it was hard to find a husband because you kind of had to trade. He would marry you if you gave him money. But if you were poor and couldn't afford to give your future husband money, a lot of these women never could get married and have families.
So therefore, some people say that St. Nicholas would drop coins into stockings, and those stockings were hanging by the fireplace. These stockings, of course, belonged to the sisters. A stocking is like a sock, but it's longer, right? And I think of it as something that women wear. Men just wear regular socks, but women wear stockings because they go all the way up the leg.
Yeah, these days we usually refer to them as pantyhose or tights. Those are the different words we use. Although I've heard my mom and grandma say stockings, but it's an old-fashioned word. So he put the bags of money into their stockings that were hanging by the women's fireplace. Now, let's take a look at this word drop. When you drop something, you allow something to fall from a high place to a lower place. When I come home from work and I'm tired, I usually drop my backpack on the floor by the door. So that's what I do. Drop here is our word power word. Let's listen to some more explanation.
Word power. Hi, and welcome to Word Power. Today's word is drop. Today we read about how St. Nicholas dropped bags of coins into stockings. Drop is a verb that refers to the action of allowing something to fall. It can also just describe something falling, like the book dropped from the shelf. We can also use drop when we stop doing a regular activity. For example, I'm dropping art class from this semester. As a noun, drop can refer to the distance that something has to fall. For instance, there's a 100-meter drop from the top of this building. Another way that drop is used as a noun is to mean a very small amount of liquid, like a drop of milk or a raindrop. That's all the time we have for Word Power. Thanks for listening.
Drop can have a couple of other uses too, like if you want somebody to stop talking about the same thing, you could say, "Will you just drop it? I don't want to hear it anymore." Or if you're going to university and you don't want to take a class anymore, you drop the class, you stop taking it. But here, St. Nicholas dropped coins into the stockings, bags of coins into these stockings that were hanging by the women's fireplace. In houses in places on the earth that are north, it's cold, so they keep the house cold, or keep it warm rather, by burning wood in a fireplace. You burn the wood there, and then the smoke goes up the chimney out of the house, and that helps you keep warm during the winter.
And now it's a tradition to hang up your stockings every Christmas Eve right there on the fireplace and wait for Santa to come and visit that particular night. When you wake up on Christmas Day, there's usually stuff in your stocking, so it's kind of a fun tradition. Okay, everybody, it's time for a Chinese teacher, and then we'll be back.